Today we're going to deal with Torah precept number 27, which is going to be found in Exodus 25, verse 30, concerning the showbread before the Ark of the Covenant. Minister, could you read for us Exodus chapter 25, verse 30?
The book of Exodus, chapter 25, verse 30. And thou shalt set upon the table showbread before me always.
So today's Torah precept looks at the management by the Kohen, that is priest, to continually place bread before the presence of Almighty Yah in the most holy place of the holy sanctuary, as was just read, where he commands us. He says, and you shall set upon the table showbread before me always. Now, the phrase showbread means that this is bread that is set before the veil in front of the Ark of the Covenant, which represents being in front of the face or presence of Yah above the engraved cherubim of the mercy seat of the Ark of the Covenant. So this bread is called shewbread, which means it is a presentation of bread to be shown in the presence of the face of Yah. Hence it is called shewbread. Now, for more extensive details about this command in chapter 25, verse 30, I'm going to ask the minister to give us more of the details and context of this command that's found in Leviticus chapter 24, verse 5 through 9. Leviticus chapter 24, verses 5 through 9, minister.
Leviticus chapter 24, verses 5 through 9. Thou shalt take the fine flour and break 12 cakes thereof. 2/10 deals shall be in one cake. And thou shalt set them in 2 rows, 6 on a row, and upon a pure table for Yahweh. And thou shalt put pure frankincense upon each row, that it may be on the bread for memorial, even an offering made by fire unto Yahweh. And every Sabbath he shall set it in order before Yahweh continually, being taken from the children of Israel by an everlasting covenant. And it shall be Aaron's and his sons, and they shall eat in the holy place, where is the most holy unto him, of the offerings of Yah made by fire, by a perpetual statute.
Hallelujah. You know, notice in verse 5 of chapter 24 of Leviticus, notice that the showbread consists of 12 cakes of bread with pure, sweet-smelling incense on them. Also, you'll notice in verse 8, it says the showbread is replaced every Shabbat day, every Shabbat, weekly Shabbat, they would replace the showbread with a new presentation of bread. And then the old bread is given to the priest and their families to eat. So let's look at this, all right? These 12 cakes of showbread. Basically, when we review this, these 12 cakes represent the good works of the 12 tribes of Israel, who have received already the sin atoning work of the altar of sacrifice in the court of the sanctuary. So before the presentation of their good works are represented by the showbread, it is placed in the presence of Yahweh every Shabbat as an offering for acceptance before Yah of all their righteous works through the week. I want to repeat that again. Because the showbread is replaced every Shabbat, that means each Shabbat, a reflection of all the good works that we have done through the week are presented before Yah. But before they can get accepted before Yah, it has to pass through the court of the altar of sacrifice for sin. We'll talk about that a little bit more. So the showbread, he said, must be on the table before Yah continually, and a new batch of it is put on every Shabbat day. of the weekly Shabbat. And that these 12 cakes are the showbread, representing the good works of the 12 tribes of Israel that they've done through the week before Yah. That's something to think about, saints. Notice, every Shabbat, like today, we should review our work of service to Yah through this week, this past week we just done. As we review our work of service to Yah, we have to review as to whether we've been in faithful service to him. All right. And say, for instance, one example of faithful service through the week is to participate in a worship service with other saints in this congregation at some point through the week. Now, to attend the Shabbat service is a good work, like today, for blessings before Yah. But to come to a service we have in the week, in addition to the Shabbat service, is a record of good works to Yah that he accounts for additional blessings to us every Shabbat, as he takes into account our works unto him through the week, as attested to by the showbread. All right. Now, many Hebrews, whether Christian or Messianic, have always placed their emphasis of service to Yah almost exclusively on their day of the weekly worship service. Then the other 6 days, they don't do any other service unto Yah. But they do all their service on that one day. And then the other days, they just do like everybody else does. Anybody got any comments or questions about this? I just want to throw that out there for something, some thought-provoking work. Are we, as we reflect each Shabbat when we gather, can we reflect that I've done something through the week that when I come to Shabbat, my works are like showbread brought up in the presence of Yah for the work I've done for Yah through the week? Because if it's only that it's done on the day of the Shabbat, well, that means you're there, but it's like that you don't really have not much to put up on the showbread table of service. You got to have something to put up on the showbread table of service than just being at Shabbat only. You got to be involved in other things. And I'm not trying to make this like a cult that you have to be in something all the time that I'm doing through the week, but you got to look at yourself honestly. Am I doing something days previous to this Shabbat gathering that are works and service to Yah? That's why every Shabbat, to illustrate this, Yah had the priest to change the showbread with the 12 cakes, represent the works and services of the 12 tribes of Israel throughout the week. That's what he's talking about. So many Christians and Messianics have always placed the emphasis to Yah almost exclusively on their day of the weekly worship service. Then the other 6 days, they don't do any other service to Yah. So each Shabbat, new showbread was presented before Yah to commemorate our new works of service to Yah every week. We ought to come with being able to reflect, what have I done for Yah this past week? Because I'm going to tell you, it will show and it will tell, as illustrated by the showbread. So these new works of service, and if anybody's trying to get in a word or want to raise their hand, please just let me know. I'm just talking till I hear somebody want to give a comment or question, okay? So these new works of service unto Yah through the week were placed as represented by the showbread before Yah's presence, before the Ark of the Covenant, which is, the Ark is a representation of the throne of Yah. And atonement of sin through the blood of Yeshua was illustrated by the altar of sacrifice in the court of the sanctuary before you came, before the Shewbread was placed before the presence of Yah. So that means that, but before the showbreads, of Israel's good works could be accepted before Yah for blessings, the Israelites had to first come before the altar of sacrifice for the forgiveness of their sin in their lives. So this speaks of the confession of sin in the sin atoning sacrifice of Yeshua's death on the tree for you and me. And it's only then that Yah will accept our good works before the throne of his presence. For instance, you remember Cain and Abel both had offerings they presented, and Yah didn't accept Cain's offering. He accepted Abel's offering because Abel's offering involved the sacrifice of a lamb, which represented atonement for sin that was to come in Yeshua. Whereas Cain, he just came with vegetables and fruits. I don't know if it was because he didn't bring the best he had, or whether it wasn't the first fruit he had. Don't really say, but somehow, some way, it wasn't accepted. And the reason why is he had not come through the sacrifice for sin, because when he complained, why wasn't my work accepted in your sight? Yah said, sin is crouching at your door, which meant he hadn't come to grips with acknowledging his faults and sins. He just went out and started doing work for Yah, but didn't come by way of the tree through the death of the lamb. He didn't come through that. And see, that's the way a lot of people of other religions do, like the Muslims. They say your good works outweigh your bad works. Your works are all bad if they don't come through the sin sacrifice of the lamb. And so, but the spiritual meaning of the showbread presentation is that the blessings of Yah apply to the saved Israelites who are saved by the blood. It's their good works through the week that are recognized before the presence of Yah in heaven. Israelites that are not saved through the blood of Yeshua, they can do all kind of works to help one another, this and that. Yah don't recognize their works because they become like Cain. They weren't dealing with the need for sin and forgiveness. Unfortunately, one of the first comments I got, dear brother, Daniel Solomon communicated this about when he heard about Prince Dawid. Daniel Solomon said, well, now if he's saying the Messiah and the New Testament is the flu testament, that we don't need a man for our forgiveness. And Daniel was saying, well, what's he gonna do in terms of forgiveness for his sin? You see how bad this is? And yet this young man can get up and sing like an angel. He can play instruments like an angel. But hey, didn't Lucifer do that? Do you think all of that singing and praising gonna get any browning points for Satan to come into heaven? And that's the same thing with the Israelites. We can sing and praise Yah all we want. Yah ain't having it if it's not through the blood of Yeshua HaMashiach, the blood of the new covenant, not the flu covenant, as this young man has been putting up on YouTube. All right. But the spiritual meaning of the showbread presentation is that the blessings of Yah apply to the saved Israelites who are saved by the blood of the Lamb. It's their good works through the week that are recognized before the presence of Yah in heaven, and that invoke his blessings upon them for their works. So you see, we get blessings for our works. Not that we do it just to get blessings, but he does decide when you put that showbread up there and you got something to show at the end of the week, well, I did do some things here for you and this and that. You can bank that he's going to bless you for that. Now, I'm not going to get up here and tell you it's a blessing with money all the time, and you know, as these prosperity teachers are teaching, but it'll be blessings for you. Some of them are blessings you may not see until the day of the kingdom. Then some blessings he'll let you see. It's good to be in right sync and presentation of our works before Yah through the week, not just on Shabbat day. All right, for we, according to scriptures, if you go, Minister, could you read for us 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 10. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 10.
The book of 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 10. We must all appear before the judgment seat of Yahshua, that everyone may receive things done in his body, according to that which ye have done, whether it be good or bad.
So one day we're going to be like showbread, placed before the throne of Yah, just like the showbread was placed before the Ark of the Covenant, which was symbolic of the throne of Yah. One day we're going to have to come before the throne of Yahshua, those who are saved by the blood of the Lamb. And he's going to assess what works we did. Not that works will save us to get us there, but he will assess the works for the saved Israelites in order to grant them rewards of blessings. And some will have more rewards than others because they did more for him than others did. They'll all be in heaven, but just those that apply themselves more with more commitment, they're right now they're saving up to get all kind of blessings in the day of the kingdom. And so we do this by faith. Then our last verse, minister Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13 through 14.
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yahweh and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For Yah shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
So when the showbread is put before the Ark of the Covenant in the sanctuary in the time of Moshe and Aaron, it was to illustrate that one day you and I are going to have to appear. Those who are saved, those who are born again, those who are washed by the blood of the Lamb. We're going to have to appear to Yah's throne, not to be judged whether we go to heaven or not. We'll already be there for that. But he's going to assess, well, what kind of work did you have? What did you do? That is, each week, the showbread was a reminder to each Israelite. It's 12 cakes on that showbread table. It's for the Israelites to recollect what I've done to be faithful in serving Yah every week. And I tell you, no better sense of rest and peace on the Shabbat when you actually can rest from the Shabbat because you've done so much through the week, not just for work for yourself, not just so much for work for your livelihood, but you did so much for work above and beyond the call of duty for Yah.